2414 is a podcast about finding hope and common ground through casual conversation. Like the friends on the road in the New Testament, in Luke chapter 24, verse 14, we want to walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. Thanks for walking with us.
Hey, Shane, remember that time we used to have a podcast?
Maybe.
It's been a while. Hi, I'm Dan. That's Shane. This is 2414. We are engaging in a conversation that we are inviting you to join in on. This is not our full-time job. It's not even our job at all. We just enjoy this, and it's connected to our jobs. We work at a church here in Federway, Washington. But Shane and I are friends and colleagues, and we so value each other, and we value taking time for conversation to talk about stuff that matters. And this podcast is an excuse for us to do that. And hopefully it's an invitation for you to do the same. Yeah. So it's been a while since we've recorded. It's been a long time, Shane.
It has been a while.
This is like our third first date. This, no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good description.
Here's what we're going to do, friends. Shane and I are going to share some highs and lows. We are going to play some silly game, Outburst. And then we're going to pick up the conversation that we began months ago about hurry and rest and Sabbath and pace and margin. So we want to have an update with each other of how's that been going. Mm-hmm. And we're going to continue to interact with this orange/red book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer.
I won't be able to reference much other than the chapter we're on because I left mine at home.
Shane left his at home, so he's got photocopies of mine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the hurries of life. You know, I'll find a solution along the way.
There you go.
It involves copying your book.
We'll just see what happens. So, Shane, low and a high, lows, highs, feelings, where are you at?
Yeah, feeding off that, I like that something you did 2 weeks back or so, or last week. I don't know, a high and a low and a feeling.
Yeah, right? What's something you've been feeling?
Yeah, like just name the emotion.
Say as much or as little about it as you want.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, general highs and lows of life at the moment. I would put both high and low under this umbrella of just exhausting. Because, I mean, certainly what we've talked about in the book so far, like being productive doesn't translate to just good all the time. If you're always productive and getting a lot done, sure, like you're doing a lot of great things, but that doesn't mean life is good and you're healthy. Had a very productive weekend. Yeah. It was very good. Got a lot done. Got a lot done. Lauren and I are working on music and releasing music. We don't have a formal announcement yet, but stay tuned. Shane and Lauren, Shore Lane music out at the start of November. So super exciting. But yeah, we worked on a lot of lyric videos and publishing and kind of distribution of the songs we're working on. It just kind of was longer than a long work day. It was just very exhausting, getting all that done, which was a high. I love creating, and it very much was a kind of creative day too, of working on a lyric video. Yeah. And so super fun. I made that. Cool. I love being able to do that. But it was so much of it was I'm done with this. I don't want to create anything for a while. Okay. It's just very draining. So I kind of just want to rest a little.
Yeah.
But it's kind of both, I guess. Okay. High and low. Feeling, I think, is just a little scattered, not as organized as I want to be. Not that my office is a translation of my feeling, but I feel like my office space is so cluttered and scattered. I just want to be able to organize and just kind of, I don't know, set some actual blocks of time and I don't know, just general organization in my life. So scattered. I guess I had to describe my current feeling.
Disordered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not chaotic. There's still a little bit of direction.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Thanks.
That's scatter of emotions and feelings. So I'll throw it over to you.
Okay.
How have you been?
Well, that's a big question, but you know, I mean, it's just like I realize more and more. I ask like, "Hey, how are you? How are things?" I'm like, that's so broad as to be meaningless. Like you gotta, for me, I'm like, how are things with respect to whatever?
I always, it's a running joke in my brain of like, if somebody like actually answers honestly, like you see someone,
How have you been?
Yeah, and they just start like crying, and they're like, actually, I'm so glad you. I was like, oh no, like I don't know, people don't do that too often. Like,
so here's I'll do a low and a high and maybe some feelings if I can remember that. A low. This one sounds complicated, and it maybe sounds like, ooh, look at Dan, he's trying to live a good life. But try here. I don't know how to say this. My low is I'm a persnickety person. Like,
persnickety.
How do you say?
Whoa, you got the word of the day.
Yeah. So okay, so it's a clunky low, but so trying to have quality time and like meaningful conversations and connection, recognizing that like everyone's at a different spot all the time.
Yeah.
So like there's times when I'm like, I want to share. And there's other times when I'm like, I'm too tired, I'm too grumpy, I'm too hungry. Like I got interrupted and now I'm frustrated. And so now I don't want to talk anymore. And so like that's me, where there's times like, okay, I feel open and I'm willing to share. And there's other times where I'm like, not in the mood. And my low is like in my household of 5, the odds of all 5 of us being in a like good, healthy, I feel vulnerable and want to share like at the same time is 0. it never seems to work.
Yeah.
And so like, oh, I want to have like a connection with you, but you're grumpy pants right now. And then now I'm grumpy pants and somebody else wanted to have a connection with me, but I'm pouting that they didn't want to connect when I wanted to connect. And so just that kind of, we're at a different emotional levels of openness or closeness, and it doesn't seem or feel like many of us are open at the same time.
There's not an alignment of that feeling.
Yeah, so you probably experience that with Lauren a little bit of some moment she wants to talk and you don't, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Add in 3 kids and it gets more complicated.
The odds get lower.
Yeah, the odds are lower that we're all going to be at a good spot at the same time. So that's a clunky low, but I'm happy that I see that. So I guess that's kind of a high. Is like I want to be more intentional about connection, but then the low is like, oh man, this is hard.
Yeah.
So and then
you're figuring it out.
Yeah, so it feels healthy. The a couple highs. One high, it's kind of a weird one, is my birthday's later this month.
Isn't your wait? I mean,
depends.
What are you
listening to this? I guess.
Like, do you have a moving birthday like Thanksgiving? Like,
it's later this month. We're in October. My birthday's in October.
I thought you. What? I thought you were saying that like it's later this month.
Oh,
like,
it's later.
Or like past years, it's been earlier. Like this month, it's late.
My birthday comes earlier this year. It's a good year.
So I totally misinterpreted.
So within this calendar month of October, I will have another birthday. But my high was updating my Amazon wish list, and just I do a lot of reading. I like reading, and I put a bunch of fiction books that I've never read, but I've either had recommended to me or finding some list online of like the top 25 books of this century or since 2000.
Wow.
So a lot of new fiction that I've never heard of the author even. So just reading some kind of a summary or the back cover. I'm like, oh, that looks fun. Yeah. So
are they what? Are they
all
like a
over
style
the place.
Okay,
all over the place.
Okay.
One was crazy sounding, and I don't remember the name or the author, but it was like, it's this futuristic book where some missionary is going to like bring the gospel to aliens.
What?
but like meanwhile, like he's left his family at home for this calling, and then like things are happening back at home, but he feels this higher calling. So weird.
What?
So weird.
Okay.
There's other ones that are much more normal sounding, but that one, it's just like, oh, that's interesting. Or Marilyn Robinson is an author some people know. She's a very thoughtful, slow, deliberate writer, kind of like Wendell Berry, just very commonplace scenes that are unpacked in a lot of detail. So just a variety of things like, oh, that sounds fun to read. Oh, that sounds fun to read.
That sounds
So
really fun.
updating my Amazon list was fun.
Yeah. And just, looking forward to your birthday.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Get a cake or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
If you don't get yourself a cake, someone's got to get that for you.
I'm sure the family's been planning for weeks.
I'm sure. Yeah. There's a ton. There's the gifts are.
They have a lot of meetings when I'm not there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Preparations. It's like Elf, right? It's only 364 more days to Christmas. So that's kind of how we do my birthday at my house.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
all right.
Big deal.
That's enough. Oh, some feelings. I'm feeling this week. I have felt content a fair amount. And one of the moments I experienced that was I woke up earlier than I needed to on a morning and just decided I'm just going to lay here and maybe fall back to sleep rather than, oh no, I'm already behind, guzzle coffee, run out the door.
Yeah.
So there was a moment of, I can just enjoy this moment. And I'm not sure if there's a good word for a positive fatigue, like a tired, but like a satisfied kind of tired. So my youngest and I were splitting wood a couple weeks ago in the backyard, and I was sore and tired, but we had this nice stack of split wood, and I was like, that's good.
Yeah.
So
is there a word? I feel like there's a word for that.
I don't know. There probably is, but a contented tired, a satisfied fatigue, something like that. So we,
I'm going to be thinking of that word.
Comment below if you know the word for a contented, tired feeling.
Today's outburst theme is satisfied, tired.
We're gonna have I think we should do at least a couple rounds outburst. It's been a long time, Shane.
Oh,
Outburst.
multiple rounds of this outburst.
The game of verbal explosions. The odds are very low that any first-time listener is still with us.
At this point, it's possible.
It's possible. Would you describe the game of outbursts so that
Absolutely.
our hypothetical first-time listener?
Easiest way I would describe it is by saying Family Feud, and if that's still foreign, I would say there's a key word or sentence, and we are filling in the blanks based on what the survey's response to that is. So it could be German cars, and we're supposed to name, the top 10 German car manufacturers. Okay. The catch being this game was made in the 80s, and we don't...
Who knows?
Who knows?
Some people weren't even alive back then, believe it or not.
I was not.
You were not even a twinkle in your mama's eye. So it's like Family Feud, but lightning round Family Feud in that we have one category and 56 seconds, whatever Tim measured this out, 58 seconds.
Yeah,
written
somewhere
to determine. And there's 10 answers, and we're playing cooperatively here. If we played competitively, it'd be an awkward minute of dead air while we both furiously wrote things.
Yeah, so we like the collaborative.
So we're on the same team. You are also on our team. If you are driving an automobile or a plane or a train, now might be a good time to stop. If you're flying a plane, you're going to want to not stop.
Just stop.
You might want to pause the podcast until you get to a better spot. Also, you should probably do your job. Stop listening.
Or can you? I don't know.
Okay, so play along at home. I'm going to read the category, and then I'm going to read it again and start the timer, and we will have 1 minute to capture the top 10 answers that satisfy the criteria of whoever made up this game 40 years ago.
Yep. Sounds
Today's
great.
first category is night blank. Fill in the blank. Night with an N.
Oh, night blank.
Okay, night.
Time.
Terrors. Mare.
Nightmare?
Nightmare.
Oh, nightmare.
Night. Soil.
Night moon. I don't know.
Night.
Nighty night.
Nighty night. Night time. Night snack. No. Night owl.
Yeah.
Night villain.
Nightingale. I don't know what.
Night blank. Night
I said moon.
Okay.
Night stars? Sure.
Night stars. Night.
This is a lot harder than I gave it credit for. Oh, my goodness.
Night. Sleeping. No, baby.
Night sleep.
Night shift.
Oh,
shift.
nice.
Got it. Night shift. That's got to be one. Night guard. And time.
I could not. I could not think of anything.
That was tough.
I don't.
Night blank. Okay, Shane, how many did we get out of the top 10?
3. I'm saying
3. Oh,
and
I'm not optimistic.
I'm already convinced there's going to be some on here that's like, what is this?
I usually go bigger than you. I'm gonna say 2.
Yeah, I didn't feel good.
That was
maybe we're rusty. Maybe it was just a hard one.
That was tough. Okay,
maybe everyone did better than us.
All right. Here we go. Comment at home or comment below if you got one without us. Number 1, nightcap. We didn't get that.
I go to bed every night with my nightcap, with my fuzzy thing on the end.
No, a nightcap. That's like an alcoholic drink right before you go to bed.
What? I thought nightcap isn't a hat you wear to bed.
Oh, like
a Scrooge, hat. You know, like he's got his.
What's the alcoholic drink you have right before you go to bed? Isn't that called a nightcap? All right, we'll have to look that up later.
Called a shot of whiskey. I don't know. What is that?
I think that's like an expression to I gotta have a little nightcap.
I believe it. I've just never heard of it.
Okay, so we didn't get nightcap. Number 2, nightfall. We didn't get nightfall.
Sounds like a movie or a book.
Okay, number 3, nightgown.
I feel we could have gotten that.
Number 4, nightingale.
Oh,
you said that.
Oh, yes.
Ingale.
Nightingale.
You said ingale.
I did. Look, who got the first point? Oh,
is there a button for that? All right, nightingale. You did it.
Not a good one. Okay.
All right, number 5, nightmare.
There we go.
Nightmare.
Yeah,
I said that.
So
we're at 2, nightingale and nightmare. Number 6, nightclub.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
Number 7, nightshade.
Nightshade.
Not sure what that means. Number 8, night shirt. No.
I think cap is still.
Ooh, number 9, nighttime.
Nighttime.
I think we said that.
We did say time. Yep.
Nighttime. And number 10, nighthawk.
Nighthawk. Not night owl. Nighthawk.
I said owl. I got the wrong bird.
Owl. I've heard owl tons of times.
I'm a night owl.
I'm a night. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more of a nighthawk than a morning squirrel.
Sound like a pretentious person. Or like, oh, you're a night owl. I'm more of a nighthawk kind of guy.
Go after it.
Go after it.
I think we got 3.
We did get 3. That's a win in my book.
Congratulations.
From Nightingale.
Got nightingale, nighttime, and nightmare.
What's an 80s word? Nightingale.
All right, we'll have to look up nightcap later. I'll make a note here to figure out what a nightcap is.
Or not. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? There's always a danger of Googling things that you're not sure what they are.
No, yeah.
That's why there's safe search on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, we did probably below average if 5 is the average. Well, I'd say 3 is more the average for us. So maybe we did standard.
We did it.
We got a few.
Okay, here we go, Shane. This has 80s written all over it. You're going to be worthless.
It's going to be some 80s TV show. I'm a goner.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Control knobs on a TV set.
Oh, let's go.
Control
volume,
color,
channel.
Channel. I think we used to have 2 different channels.
I'm just going to say contrast, brightness.
Contrast. Like tint.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to do green.
I'm just going to say power because
power. Source.
Mute, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I could see mute. Previous channel. Maybe there's a button for that.
Menu? Did we say that?
No, menu. But what's the other one? Like tint and...
did you say input? Input source?
Yeah, whatever. I said source, but input's good. What's the other... Like, if you want to change the... maybe you said contrast?
I said contrast,
okay, I'm going to say
sharpness.
Tint,
sharpness.
Focus. I'll say focus.
I'm just going to say RGB.
There you go.
That's what...
Yeah, I said green earlier, but that's RGB. I'm like, what's the thing?
I don't know. Static.
Done.
I did static. I don't know what that means, but it's going to be on there.
TVs used to have a button called static. If you had static,
that's how you got the snow on it, right?
The button. We got more than I thought we were going to get. How many buttons got an old 80s TV?
Sure, there's not one.
You know what? I bet channel. We didn't say.
I said channel.
Oh, you did say channel.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And we said
Said volume and channel at the very beginning.
All right.
And power. Yeah. I wrote these down. We're
Okay. Sorry.
We're ready.
I couldn't listen to you.
We got extra credit.
How many did we get?
Gosh, I hope 7.
7.
I know there's going to be some ones that like there's no way we could have gotten, but
I'm going to say 6.
this can't be a hard one, right? Like
the options are few.
there's
Okay, here we go.
all right. Here we go.
Control knobs on a TV set. Some of these I think we might have to. Oh, yeah. Okay. Number 1, on/off button. I think power. I think power. We're going to count power on that. So that's 1. Number 2, channel selector.
We said channel.
Yeah, we got channel. Number 3, volume. 3 for 3, Shane.
3 for 3.
We did not get this. Number 4, UHF/VHF.
I've heard the words before.
What does that mean? I have no idea. All right. We did not get UHF VHF. If you did, please let us know. Whether on a Sunday morning, send us an email. We'd like to send you something.
Ultra high fidelity. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Number 5 and 6 we didn't get. But
5 and 6?
Well, vertical hold and horizontal hold.
Is that like the dimensions?
I think so. It's like when you turn your PlayStation on and it's like adjust to fit your screen.
Yeah, for the ratio of the screen.
So we didn't get vert hold and horizontal hold. Number 7, I think we got sharpness. I said sharpness.
Yes, you did.
So that's 4. Number 8, contrast.
Yes.
You got that. That's 5. Number 9, color. I said color. That was the first thing I wrote down.
Really?
Color.
Color. Okay.
And number 10, tint. I wrote tint.
You did.
7.
You said tint. Let's go.
Did you say 7?
I said 7.
2 for 2, Welter. Congratulations, sir.
Bit of a winner myself.
You know your controlled knobs on a TV set.
Well, I don't know them, but
Have you ever seen a TV with knobs?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it. I'm trying to like the TVs I had growing up,
Like with
they
like
were.
physical knobs where you would change it, not just like a button to toggle through the screen.
My grandparents had one, but like the TVs we had, like they were still boxes, but they were buttons.
So
That clicked.
yeah, so you're saying buttons, and most of these are buttons. But when
But like not like
when I
actual-
read knobs, I was thinking we had a TV like if you wanted to go 10 channels, you had to like crank
the
the thing
dial.
like a master lock 10 times to like get to that channel.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had a TV.
I think it went up to like 30 or 31. And then you could like shortcut, from 1 to 30.
God, TVs have changed so much. Like they're just glorified internet like screens.
Yeah, now while I'm
nowadays.
watching TV, I ask it a question about something else and it answers in the corner of the TV. Or if there's another sports game that's close, it's like nail biter alert. You might want to turn to this other channel.
Oh man, TVs have gotten so good at grabbing our attention.
What a world, Shane. What a world.
What a world of we live in.
Oh man.
I couldn't think of I'm trying to think of a transition here from TVs to
Well, it's a fast-paced world we're living in, Shane, and that comes with some celebrations and it comes with some warnings.
I don't get it.
We
As in,
our TVs that are grabbing our attention don't care about our well-being.
Oh no, yeah, no, they don't.
And hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? You're also not watching this other channel.
They do.
I know.
They do not have your best interests. I was watching Mets and Phillies during the Seahawk Giants game at the same time. Both screens on my TV. It's just like I can't digest both of these at like physically. Like
Nope.
You gotta
can
go from
switch.
one to the other. It was really nice though for commercials. So like when one's going on, there's commercial. Slide it to the other screen. That's convenient. It has nothing to do with it. It's just
There was
it's
a
nice
time,
thing.
Shane, when one was driving in the car, and if you were listening to the radio and the commercial came on and you wanted to change the channel, you had to spin a knob and tune in, actually like find the
This
station.
was before preset.
Yeah. There was a time after that where there were physical buttons and it would like physically move the tuner to where you told it to memorize like where that station was. So you would move the needle and it would get that station clear. And once you got a spot, you could like preload one of the physical buttons that it would make it there. So then if you to preset another one, it didn't just digitally adjust it analogically, it physically moved the tuner to get to that preset station.
Oh, that's wild.
Now you just talk to it and you say, hey, find me a station without commercials on right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk to your car.
What a world, Shane. What a world. All right. We started this months ago.
We did, and it has been a long time since I've caught up with the book.
I'm less interested in the book. Well, we might talk about it. I'm more interested in how have you been doing with managing rest and Sabbath and energy and capacity since we started this?
I would say better, but definitely not it's hard because how we started this. I mean, we wanted to analyze our own lives and kind of compare it, contrast it with the book, and implement it into our own lives. But I still don't know how to define that finish line yet. Of I'm doing I'm always at rest and
which isn't the goal, I don't think.
No, it's definitely not. But
what is that finish line? It's interesting. I've made it. It's like fitness. You're never done with fitness. Well, you can be, but you're not going to be fit for very long.
Yeah, you're only. I don't don't know how to define that.
I hadn't thought about that.
But I will say I've learned a lot already in that. I don't know. I definitely had a kind of a shallower perception of rest before coming to this, and I maybe knew it was shallow, but rest for me was not working, but how do
or sleeping in?
Yeah, or sleeping in and doing absolutely nothing to some degree. You don't feel good after doing after complete productivity, but if you're always doing something, then it's not. But I really kind of diving into this more honestly the Sabbath part of it, of being at more ease, knowing that I'm not in control of this world, and my actions very much I have freedom in my soul and my choices and everything, but God's still going to make the world run just fine. And so to have that peace of mind and to give myself that that day, and I can't say it's been 100% of the time. For me, Fridays have been a great day to call my Sabbath, because I don't know, being a church worker, Sunday, we're very busy. We're doing a lot of work on Sunday. But Friday is kind of modeled that to be somewhat of a Sabbath day, but not to just I don't know, do nothing, but to do what I love, do it God put on my heart the things that I love. I mean, if that is kind of sleeping in particular, great, but it's more than just fully just resting and literally sleeping and recovering. It's doing the things I love with the time I've been giving, and to delight in creation. I've really loved the day I kind of could have preached more or less. You gave me a Eugene Peterson kind of, I don't know, short article. I don't know what to call it.
It's but Confessions of a Former Sabbath Breaker or something like that.
Yeah. It was a great read, and he had these 2 points of both to pray and play. And I really love that when you rest, when you have your Sabbath, and it's something I got more from him than maybe this book, but the book definitely helps too within that process. But if we just play, we lose our relationship and our connection with God and the Creator, and we're just purely a creature of the world. But if it's just completely pray, we're become the Puritans, where we lose sight of all the joy in this world that God wants us to delight in. And it's this beautiful balance that we delight in God's creation, and to be able to, I don't know, do what you love, but also to understand hey, God has made you a unique person to do these things you love. And it's really, it's given me peace with that, even like despite other obligations, things I have to juggle, to give myself that day to just, hey, like, this is what I want to do. And
so what was one of those lacking more in your life, or you didn't feel like permission or encouragement, or like, yeah, I haven't been giving attention to as it relates to Sabbath and rest?
I think to some degree, like, I have a bad habit in my brain of seeing like everything as work. like I
and that makes sense, because in some ways, and maybe that's for everybody, but you are a musician in a church. And so your faith, your kind of creative endeavors, your college degree, your paycheck, it's all the same area.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to separate. Like, I'm writing a praise song because I want to worship my Savior, but also we could do this on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But also I could get this produced.
Yeah. And then it kind of, like there's always more to it than like, okay, well, all right, something we could do in church. Like, all right, well, I have to make a lead sheet and chord chart and have to like transcribe everything. Like, oh man, I just wanted to like create, or like something along those lines.
Like a painter who paints professionally, I wonder, do they paint recreationally anymore? Like, that's maybe how they got into it.
Yeah.
But once it became a job, sometimes now it's just a job. And what if that's your faith and your hobby and your artistic expression?
Yeah. So it's given me like throughout the summer, like through all the different happenings, like it's given me a chance to just, I don't enjoy the things I love. Like, again, if that makes sense, because like there's times I hate music. Like, I don't want to listen to music right now. I'm done. Like just so much just blah. Like I hear, and then but like I don't know, just listen to it with a fresh perspective, fresh set of ears. Not have to burden myself with like I have to do everything to solve all the problems ever. Like, no, like I do this because I love it.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's what you.
Great. No, this is great. I'm just trying to catch up with you, because we haven't recorded for a long time, and we began this journey study focused on Sabbath and rest, months ago at this point. So I'm trying to just kind of check in to say what has stuck, what hasn't. I've got some of my own reflections there, but I also, another question for you is, do you think you were experiencing Sabbath and rest differently when you and I were talking every week? Or did it give you what you needed and now you've run with it and that was nice, but I'm good now? Or, I let things lapse because we weren't talking about it?
I would say it definitely has fade. Like, I don't know if it's like coincidental, and looks like I think things get busier, at least at St. Luke's when in the fall and as like summer comes to an end. But it definitely, there was something to it when you literally talk about it and keep it fresh in your brain. Like all things, like you lose a skill that you're not actively using, like in your life. Like if you spend your whole life learning, I don't know, Spanish, like, and then you go a decade without speaking it, you're going to be rusty. And like to some degree, I think that's kind of where I'm at now that we're like, rest and Sabbath isn't on like as much the forefront of our minds as it was when we were doing a whole sermon series and podcast on it. And so feeling that hurriedness of life definitely is creeping back in. Yeah. But I still have that, like, I remind myself like hurriedness isn't good. Like it, like, always reminded, like when I am like either myself or Lauren are feeling rushed, like we're not good to each other when that happens. Like both of us, like there's something not great about like being hurried, being late, or like just this thing onto the next one and just cramming so much into your life. So there's bits and fragments. That's been good. I've been talking too long. I want to hear about you. Okay. I want to hear about you, because there was like a month straight we did not see each other.
Yeah, and some of that was just life stuff. I had a funeral. My grandpa died. I had a conference in St. Louis. I had a couple weeks of vacation, which I think might be the first time I've ever taken 2 weeks off in a row.
Just like straight without.
Yeah, I just, for various reasons, I haven't used my vacation like that before. It's like a day here, a day there, 2 days here, and kind of spreading it out as opposed to just kind of full disconnect for a couple weeks.
And would you say you preferred that over?
Yeah, it was really healthy. I think that's probably the way I should do it. If I'm able to. I think I was in Arizona for a week, which I'd love to talk about too.
Yeah.
One of my maybe just learnings from this season of study, and you said it too, but accepting limitations of like we're people, we have limits, and this isn't a defect in God's design. It's not a failing in my execution. We just have limits. The more and more I read about all kinds of things, like you need sleep. You're not a hero for getting less sleep. You're irresponsible and you're harming yourself. Like it's like it's not good for you. And so to do more than we can and should isn't a badge of courage. It's like you're being a bad steward. Like you're not taking care of it. Yeah. I mean, it's like I'm thinking like a car analogy, like, you know, the RPM, you know, these old cars, most cars, you know, if they got the RPM and then like the final inch or two of that is red, right? Like your car can go there, but if you live there, that's not good. Like just because it can doesn't mean you should. And there might be times where it's important. You need to go there, like to get out of some crisis situation.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, I think that's the beautiful things about our bodies, like, and how they're created. Like they can go there. Yeah. They shouldn't live in it.
Or even like sprinting, you know, running. Like, you know, I had a coach one time in cross country when I was in high school. And I think he was trying to motivate us, and it was fine. But he would at the end of a race, he made some comment like, you know, if a bear came out of the woods to chase you, like, could you have run faster? Well, like, okay, like, also, like, this is just a JV race in a sophomore year of high school. It isn't life or death, and like, so we maybe shouldn't treat things like life or death that they aren't. Now, his point was like, yes, like you could go farther. And as a coach with runners, there's times where I need to help my athletes see, like, it might be uncomfortable, but you can push through that and you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And like, but the moral is like the race will come to an end. You could like, there is a finish line to it.
Yeah. So accepting limitations, that's been a big thing. So part of where we haven't seen each other for 2 months, hardly it seems. I spent a week in Arizona with Charlotte, my wife, at Shepherd's Canyon Retreat, which is in some ways that's not really our topic today, but it's related to it. It's kind of like crisis intervention for church workers. I kind of jokingly called it ministry rehab, but it's Shepherd's Canyon Retreat is a 7-day like residential intensive counseling retreat where they limit it to 8 participants total, including spouses, and there's group counseling throughout the morning and then individual counseling throughout the afternoon, and it's like really, really intense. Processing for church workers who are going through a hard season, who are burned out, who are kind of wounded.
So it's a lot more than just like it's like a resort spa, relax, decompress.
No. And so there was much that was relaxing about it. And there were plenty of times to like go be quiet and sit and be at peace.
So like literally
and do nothing.
Disconnect.
Yeah. But most of it was sort of structured counseling time, group or individual. And most of what I brought to that retreat was the kind of things we've been talking about, and my inability to kind of continue at the pace I've been trying to continue at as a person, but especially as a pastor and as a church worker, like not acknowledging limits and trying to do more than I healthily can. And so other people were at the retreats. I mean, whatever you want to call it.
Place, location.
This like I say, I mean, like crisis intervention rehab. I mean, really is kind of what it is.
Like rehab's
yeah. I mean, I don't mean that in like a joking way. It's really like people who kind of check themselves and like, I have a problem and I'm not in a good spot. And so, what brought me there was I can't keep doing ministry in church like this. And part of like this means like my own drive and doing too much, but part of it is also just emotionally handling the challenges of like, hey, people are mean, and like there's hurt that comes from loving others and not having that love in return, or I'm like compassion fatigue of like, I'm just kind of worn out from caring.
Tired for caring.
I mean, so I could talk about that for a long time, but a couple of the takeaways as it relates to our topic today. One was, and maybe this is everyone is the same, and I'm not different. I think we're all human. We're all doing the best we can, but sometimes getting perspective can be amazingly refreshing. So for me, I'm kind of, in some ways, many ways, perhaps running myself into the ground, doing more than I can or should. And in one of our sessions, they were talking about like, you wouldn't want your kid's bus driver to show up like totally exhausted from having done too much all weekend. Like you don't want your doctor yawning with rings around their eyes and their hands are shaking because they're so anxious about the other patient who was just yelling at them
as they were about to perform an open heart surgery on you.
Like you wouldn't want your therapist to be just shocked by hurt and awe from all these other people, and they can barely hold it together for your session. Like you don't want your kid's teacher resenting students and parents because they're working 80 hours a week because they love the students and they're doing so much for the students. Now they're just this miserable person who's not doing the students any good. And when you kind of put this little gap between you and your situation and go, obviously I wouldn't want other people to be like that. So like, oh, maybe I'm not doing my church and my people a service by trying to be this super pastor in such a way that I'm not healthy. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Or, one of my takeaways when I came back, and again, people have different jobs and we're all different, but and maybe some of this is obvious, or maybe I sound selfish saying it aloud, but I think that was a big learning for me. Is I felt selfish wanting or needing things. So one of the takeaways, they were like
coming out of it or going into
I think one of the things I was processing while I was there was, so one of the things was like, many jobs, like you get a lunch break. And many jobs you have they are required by law to give you a 15-minute break every so often. And if you work so many hours, you get a lunch break.
And you're not allowed to work during your lunch break.
And they're not allowed to make you work. And and that's like a basic human decency kind of law that's put in place. And so one of my learnings, I came back and I told the staff here, is like, hey guys, like I think I need to start scheduling like 30 minutes to eat. And not just, well, if I happen to maybe have time to eat, I will, but realistically, I'm eating while I'm typing or on the phone, or I just don't eat at all. Like, oh, maybe as a human, I should take a break and eat a meal. But that felt selfish for some reason, probably for lots of reasons. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling. But just some of my learnings are like, oh, I need energy and I need a break, and I need to not go from a premarital counseling to an angry parishioner to an upset email to writing an Easter sermon to supporting a staff member to planning the budget with literally like zero between the meetings. Like my meeting goes from 9 to 10, and then I run across the building to my 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and then my 12 o'clock is here, and then my 1 o'clock is here, and like, oh, maybe that's not a good way to do literally every day of my working life.
And being a great pastor didn't mean doing a lot, doing even more. Like,
right,
fill your schedule even more. You got to do more duties. You got to take care of more people. Like,
so just this permission. And again, maybe you're listening to this going, I don't get a break, or maybe you're like, obviously you should. But for me, this was a big kind of hurdle to say, maybe I'll be a better pastor and healthier human, even apart from being a better pastor. But maybe I'll be a better pastor and a healthier human if I have 15 minutes from this heavy meeting before the next one. Mm-hmm. And like, now if I here's the scary part, is if I have those 15 minutes between every meeting, that's like 1 or 2 less meetings I can get in a day, which is like 4 to 6 less meetings I could get in a week. And so now the cumulative starts to feel scary. So now that's 20 less meetings I can have this month. Mm-hmm. But maybe having 15 minutes between weighty things is good for my soul. It might even be good for the church. And that means I get to connect with fewer people this month. Mm-hmm. And then I have to kind of swallow my pride and deal with the frustration of if somebody says, hey, pastor, I'd like an appointment this week. I'm sorry. It might be a week or 2 out. But my temptation is, of course, I'll squeeze you in. I'll come in early. I'll stay late. We can bunch these things together. But that's not good.
But the answer can't always be yes. There's like if everything's important, like nothing is.
So this it's been a good thing for me coming out of it. A couple other action items as I've stepped back from some outside responsibilities.
Woo!
So.
Sorry, the audience was going nuts.
Good. Yeah. So I've got a number of commitments that I'm engaged in besides my full-time job and my full-time family, and so a couple of them already I've said I need to stop this. I can't do this and be healthy. Yeah. So that took a lot of. I was going to say it took a lot of courage, which is a really way of saying I was scared. Like typing it, I was really nervous, and then when I hit send, I felt so much peace and relief, and like I should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's also scary because like those extra things were like little side hustles that, a little cushion to the bank account. So now it's like I'm saying no to the work and the load, but I'm also saying no to that cushion of income. Mm-hmm. So there's a kind of scary trust thing going on there.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's very, reflective and beautiful. Like, to not doing everything again, just emphasizes like, all right, like I don't know, God will do what he needs to do despite my best efforts.
Yeah. I'm going to be okay. The church is going to be okay. The world's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite, I'll move on from the retreat for now, but we can talk more if you want. But one of my favorite things they had on campus, this was down in Arizona, is they had a couple like little waterfall fountains, like backyard water features.
Yeah.
And it was just heavenly to sit on a bench next to the sound of running water and kind of like running on this waterfall. So that was a highlight of my time there, was just sitting down without a phone, without a book, and just watching water run over rocks like a stream. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to scratch my head going, is that something we could build in our backyard? Like, like a
little fountain.
Yeah, like Lowe's has little fountains, but not like, I don't know, like a pretend brook fountain more than like a spraying up in the air fountain.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like a little pretend river.
Yeah, like a little
waterfall,
light cascade of water
exactly.
noise. Yeah.
So just sitting by that was so peaceful, and it reminded me when I went to Mount Rainier last summer. I spent a whole day just sitting by a river and like watching the water and hearing it go by. Mm. So trying to imagine, do some brainstorming now. Like, all right, how I could have like a load of rocks delivered. That seems crazy. Or like, how do you build a backyard waterfall or fountain?
Certainly, there's no one knows. This is
I don't know. It's not my expertise.
No, I don't know anything about it either.
So that sounds that's a little mini dream of mine now. Of like, all right, what would it look like to have a little space to just sit and relax?
You just
hear a peaceful sound.
Flush the toilet.
There you go. Yeah, just don't fix. Or when Charlotte doesn't, or my kids don't take care of their fish tank, or they don't, change the water often enough, and the water evaporates. So then the filtered water, it just sounds like there's a faucet on all the time. Less relaxed. Somehow it's less relaxing.
I've got standards of beauty now. This is.
Anyway, that was kind of a lot, Shannon. I dumped a whole lot or said a whole lot. Not sure how coherent it was.
I honestly would love to even have an episode 2 on like the Shepherd's Canyon and like what they're doing there, because I've heard stories from you and others, and it sounds. I think it would be good. I don't know, just to be able to just like process it, and then also just for our listeners to understand. Like, I think it is very informative and like good for people. Like whether they're members of this church, outside the church body, not even believers, whatever, to know all the work and ins and outs and kind of stresses even too, like of ministry, because so much of what most people see is Sunday morning, and like that's it. That's your job. How is this a 40-hour job? Like, pastor, like you just wrote a sermon and you preached. Like, there's just so many ins and outs to pastoral work, but like church workers and everything that goes on. Yeah. And I love what like Shepherd's Canyon's doing. And it's just like, addressing the struggles and like some of the unfortunate things of ministry.
Yeah. And every calling has their unique challenges. And
yes.
And Shane and I are not saying our jobs are harder than anybody else's, but there are different challenges. And
every job has challenge. We just know a lot about this one because we work in it.
Yeah. And it's different. It's unique in a lot of ways.
It is.
What are your do you have any ongoing rhythms or patterns? Anything you've started doing or stopped doing since we've kind of started talking more about rest and Sabbath? And
definitely not good at it yet, but just valuing more sleep, I think, has always just been a general good thing. I think we were just talking about it, so it just kind of came up in my brain. But to like go to bed like at reasonable times, but then to like wake like I don't know, just to have more reason to like get out of bed than like push the clock because I have to go somewhere kind of thing, and to just like give myself that leisure, like don't have to crunch everything down to the last minute because it's what motivates me.
Yeah. and yet sense. Like live your own life. If that's what you want to do, go for it.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, just getting more sleep has been nice, but I'm trying to think of like other healthy routines.
And you can say, no, I'm not fishing for anything. There's not a better or worse. I was just curious if.
No, yeah. I'm sort of fishing like in my brain. Yeah. Like I know, like I think I'm just the general constant hum. It's not a routine, but like the constant, I think, just like reminder and like self-awareness of just like personal relation and like the non-need to hurry so much. Like it's just so nice, like recognize more like when you have space and time for conversation with people. Like for me, like that's the best thing ever. Yeah. Like I hate I feel terrible when I'm talking to someone and I'm like, damn, like I've got 2 minutes. Like I have to go. Like I can't be invested in the conversation, and it's not good for the person who's talking to me, because I want to be able to listen, but like, no, this thing's more important than you.
So it's hard. You don't enjoy the conversation when you know there's like the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you want to enjoy the conversation, but you can't when you have another thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love just like, just pure, pure relational, like connection, like without the burden of like other tasks or other things. Like can just fully present be in moments. It's just, it's just so good. And it's something that I absolutely value in my life. And it's, I don't know, the book definitely like cements it, and it's just, it's something that's good.
I'm feeling that right now a little bit, that contrast. So when I was training back in May for my long run, I had a lot of hours running with people.
Yeah.
And in some ways it was just unhurried time. We hit start and we went off into the woods and we talked, and there were times we didn't talk. But right now, cross country season is going and I'm helping coach. And so 3 days a week, I'm, trying to be home by 5 so I can leave at 5:30 so I can get to practice by 6. That goes till 7:30, and then we stretch, and so I'm home 8:15, then have a little bit of food and then shower, and it's 9:15. And so if everything goes right, I'll have a half hour to like watch a TV show and like say hi to my wife.
Yeah.
And so what happens though is after practice, my son wants to talk to his friends. And I'm like, I want to go home. I'm tired and I'm hungry and I've been working all day. And the same people that I could talk to there, but I just want to go home, are the same people back in May. I would have 2 hours of unhurried conversation, and it would be wonderful. So it's not like I don't enjoy the person or I don't enjoy the conversation, but I enjoyed our time when we had space for it.
Yeah.
And now that I'm squeezing this practice into my full day, I don't want to see you anymore. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't I noticed that this week. So I'm kind of like tapping my wrist, or how long is he going to be talking to those people? I'm tired. I'm like, oh no, I love these people.
Yeah.
But I don't enjoy the time with them when it's squeezed into my day.
Yeah, and when you have this restless feeling of other obligation, whether that's the clock or other duties, it's just like, it feels so disingenuous to people, like to not give full attention. I can't remember which book it was, if it was this book or if it was another one you gave me. It had to do with Sabbath, but like, the saying like the apple in my eye comes from some long expression long ago. Like the actual translation of it has been like mistranslated, but the original statement was like the little man in your eye.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't remember where this came from then, but
sounds made up to me.
Yeah, but like when you're so invested in conversation with someone that you can see the reflection of them in your eye, like the little man in your eye. And like, that's what I love. Like, that's my favorite kind of conversation. When you're so invested, you can you both have that, like, you see the little man in your eye, like the apple of your eye. Like that's
okay.
Kind of where it came from. I don't remember if it's like Hebrew or I don't know.
Okay. I've never heard this, Shane.
But that's like, I love thinking back to those conversations in my life where it's like, like the conversation, like we're just so invested in one another, just talking and listening to one another. Like those are the best.
That's
like
where it's at.
That's humanity like together. Like, yeah. So,
here's where I think we might go in the weeks ahead here. This is not a book study, but I do think this book that we've picked up has been helpful for me to challenge me or to give me some practical ideas. And we spent a few weeks sort of diagnosing the problem of hurry and rush. And the answer isn't just more time. We have to think about our life differently. And then this book gets into some positive, calls to action, so to speak. Specifically, there's these 4 sections later of silence and solitude as one, Sabbath, simplicity, and slowing. And I think those, I don't want to make some promise to you or to our listeners, but I think it'll be worth a conversation around each of those kind of 4 positive actions or attitudes that we can work towards or embrace or think about what they could look like in our lives, for the sake of a sustainable, doable pace, and not just like longevity of I can keep doing this longer, but like a quality of life.
Yeah, like we want to like improve our livelihood for the better. It's a low bar.
And that's okay. I'm not a selfish or bad person for saying I want to like enjoy life and not just survive this next week.
Just to be able to enjoy life for what it is and every present moment.
Yeah.
It's a little ask, I guess. Yeah, I think too. I want to be able to give us, I don't know, almost like homework, actual like something practical to do and try and see like how was it? How did it feel to isolate for 15 minutes? I don't know.
Yeah. So the next of those 4, the first of the 4, what did I say? Silence and solitude. Yeah, silence and solitude. I think that'll be the one we talk about next. And I'll just share to our listeners. Shane and I, we work together, but we also like enjoy one another's company. So Shane came over the other morning, and he caught me in a moment of silence and solitude, and it was wonderful. We've got like it's not a rocking chair, it's like a reclining chair in the front window, and I had a cup of coffee, like a mug in my hand, and I had a quilt sitting in my lap because it was cozy. And so just this old man watching the sunrise with my tea and quilt, and Shane comes over and he's like, "Are you knitting? What are you doing?" And it was just this delightful moment of I'm always either on my phone or reading a book or learning or studying, and I was just like, I'm just gonna watch that tree across the street. Yeah. And it was so wonderful. And then I got to hang out with you, and that was wonderful too. But yeah, you caught me in my old man mode, and I realized I like that. That's okay.
Your old man mode of reflecting. But like, I don't know what you were doing. Like, I just saw you just in this rocking chair with a quilt, like, hunched over, looking through the window. What are you yelling at cars? I don't know. What are you doing?
This convalescenting. Living the dream, Shane. That's what I was doing. I was ruthlessly. I have not been ruthless in my elimination of hurry, but I've been conscious of how much I've been hurrying.
Yeah, and so. I think that's something else too. I surely loved about the book. It's a very bold looking book, and like listeners like listening at home, like it's this bright orange book. Like it's very identifiable if you like leave it laying around the home. And for me, it's just that like I've left it out constantly, like the whole time. It's somewhere laying on some counter, some flat surface somewhere in the home, and like I see it, and it's just always this general reminder of me, like it's called the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and like what am I doing? Am I hurrying? And it's just always this like reflective. I had a like reminder every time I see it, like slow down.
So you're saying that very positively.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because
did it come across?
No. For me, that phrase, like the ruthless elimination of hurry, I have not been very ruthless, so I feel convicted by it. I've been nudging towards healthier living, and that feels good to me, as opposed to like this cold turkey lifestyle change. And so I feel convicted that I need to be more ruthless about this, like this personal trainer who's in your face, like, you gotta want it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not ruthless in that. Like some days I'm kind of trying, other days I'm not really feeling even the effort. But I'd like to be a little more intentional. That feels like far on the spectrum from ruthless.
Yeah. And maybe I feel somewhat at peace to it, of just like in the nature of like the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, like the book, talks about it's not good. It does not bear good fruit. Like leads to sinful desire. And in my head, I'm like, oh, well, all sin and fall short of the glory of God. Like, it's like, I'll never be able to 100% eliminate hurry from my life. Like,
sure.
Ever. But at least to like give myself that reminder as opposed to just never, like, it gives me like a chance for me to just remind myself, like, just slow down, watch the leaves. Like,
So this says as much about my personality as anything, that I'm this, like running is good, I should run 100 miles. Or like, working is good, I'm going to work 90 hours a week. Like, eliminate hurry, I will do it ruthlessly. Like, all right, like, it's okay. Some progress is still good, even if it's not all the way all the time. Yeah. So that's something I'm working on in me.
Yeah. Maybe we'll figure out what the goal is. Like, I don't know.
Hey, before we wrap up, I want to give a special shout out to Julie for providing our sponsor this week of candy corn.
We are in the fall.
We are in fall. I've got an autumn mix of candy corn. It's got the standard white, orange, and yellow. It's got the giant pumpkins. It's got the chocolate bottomed one, and
it's also in a Christmas tree.
It's in a glass Christmas tree on our table here. So, Julie, thank you for that. Your kindness is not wasted. There you go. That's as close as Shane's going to get to it. And most of that will be consumed by me and our lucky guests. So
it's mainly so far it's just been you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, we've had the guests every now and then are like, oh, candy corn, sweet. Like, what?
So thank you, Julie, for candy corn. Thank you, Shane, for being here, for being a friend.
Whew.
Thanks for listening and talking.
Yeah.
Likewise. Yeah, viewers and listeners.
Watchers and viewers, and those with eyes.
Those noticing, those observing. Some of you they watch and they mute it. It's far more enjoyable that way.
Far more enjoyable if just ignore us.
However you consume this content or interact with it, thanks for taking time. We would love to hear from you if anything's been encouraging or challenging here. We would love to encourage you to do this on your own. You don't have to start a podcast. For us, it sure helps to have a scheduled time, but maybe it's a weekly phone call, maybe it's a coffee, maybe it's once a month you go out for a premium malt beverage or a bottle of wine. I don't know. But find a person, do life together, be vulnerable, share your hurt, share your joys, share your feelings, eat candy corn, play a silly game. This is a highlight of my week.
Yes. Same. I really just enjoyed. That's what's nice. It's an isolated room we're in.
Yeah.
Where we silence our phones and just can't.
That's interesting.
Canceled all the distractions.
Yeah, I mean, we literally we put our phones away and off. Airplane mode. So anyway, thanks for listening. You too can have conversation with friends. It just takes a little initiative and a little courage. So until next time. Don't forget your nightcaps.
Yeah. Wear or drink your night. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You know what to do with it.
You know.
Get that horizontal vert set on your TV, your vertical lock, and
dial down that off button and
crank the contrast. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.
That's the end of the episode, but we want to continue the conversation. Continue the conversation by sharing this episode, subscribing, or leaving a review. Connect with us on Instagram at 2414podcast. Connect with us through email at 2414@stlukes-church.com. Or best of all, keep the conversation going by inviting someone to process with you so that you can each walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. If you happen to be in the Seattle-Tacoma area of Washington, stop by on a Sunday morning and say hi. 2414 is a podcast produced by St. Luke's Lutheran Church in Federal Way, Washington. To find more content, discover upcoming opportunities to connect in person, or to support the show, head on over to stlukes-church.com. Thanks for walking with us.